Hello everyone, this is Gamer1745 here, and we're continuing our series that was started over on Slitherine TV, playing American Civil War, the Wars in America DLC, and we are playing the Eagle and the Empire scenario. Now, we're a little ways into this. This is scenario, and I will be talking about it a bit more while playing through it again. I know if you're catching this a bit later, might be right after some other episodes, but in actually making this, there's been a break in playing it. Not sure that I was going to get back to it on Slitherine TV, so going to continue it here. Now, this is a fantasy episode or scenario. This is not based in reality. But the fantasy is, what if the French came in the support of the Confederates? Now, and you've arrived, Arno. Good to have you here. Now, the more I've thought about this, the more I've thought that this is more realistic than originally thinking. And the British are probably the strongest proponent of removing slavery at this time. They've gone through the Wilberforce movement, got rid of slavery within the British Empire, mainly in places like Jamaica and a lot of the British possessions, by buying the slaves. The government buys the slaves and frees them. I mean, they also emancipate them and set it up so that somebody else can't then buy them back or whatever. But they actually compensate. I don't know what the slave owners thought of the price. I quite honestly have no idea whether they thought it was a good price or a bad price for having the slaves freed. Whether they wanted to or not, it wasn't a choice. Hello, Ari. This is French people disgusting. Hey, I thought you liked Catholics. So they are also some of the ones, because the Confederacy is, coming out in the United States as a whole, of course, as a former British colony, and continue. They have some of the most interest in it. But like I say, they would like to see, or a lot of the European powers would like to see, America broken up to keep it from being too big of a giant. So there are strategic interest reasons for them to see that happen. Now, none of them even recognize the Confederacy as a legitimate nation, let alone came in on in the war. What's Catholic? Well, this is before that happened. So, yeah, you don't have them recognize this. But also what happens during this time period, and what we see here, is France and England, though England pulls out pretty quickly. Mexico established a large international debt. And sort of like we have seen a little bit, but not as blatant as what it was with Mexico's case. What happened? Well, they defaulted on their debt. And the two main debting nations, or nations that had investments in Mexico, was France and Britain. So they decided a military action to occupy the ports, Veracruz, and I think this other port over here, and get their money back, and plus the cost of getting their money back. And Veracruz is the main port for Mexico. And what the British idea was, and what the French sort of sold them on it, was to occupy this port and collect the revenue from imports and exports to Mexico. Right in about here, what I'm showing here, right here, this is all upland mountains. This is fairly far south, but it is a permanent temperate zone in that it doesn't go to a cold winter, because it is in getting into a tropical zone, but it's high elevation, and there's plenty of water, so it's not desert like up in here. This is about 50% of all of the Mexican population is a slave. $1,000, yes. That is about the price. Now, I don't know what the British paid for him. I know it took about, I think, 80 to 100 years for Britain to finally pay off that, national debt that it incurred over, because, paying it off slowly. It incurred to free the slaves. And there was no serious proposal in the American situation to pay off the Confederate-owned slaves. So, and obviously with the Civil War, they didn't do that when they emancipated them. So there's a bit difference there. So you can see here, without railroads, if this is where, half of the population of, this big country here, as it zooms out to the big sort of super map. You occupy Veracruz and a couple other ports along the coastline, you can recoup your money, is the idea. Mexico has a lot of silver mines, starting at this time, but going a little bit later into the early 20th century. The Mexican dollar, the physical Mexican silver dollar, I should say, the Mexican silver dollar is sort of the currency of coastal China. China, they, with all the European powers sort of pushing in there, the Chinese like silver as currency, and where the Europeans can get silver is they buy Mexican dollars, from Mexico, and use them over there in China as a coastal currency, dealing with trades and imports, exports. So they have lots of silver that's coming out through this time, and then for the next 80 years or more, large amounts of silver. So that the idea is, without having to conquer the country, they can collect their debt. Well, France, Napoleon III decides, hey, maybe I want to start an empire like my sort of, uncle or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how Napoleon II, Napoleon's son, dies while living in Austria as a young man, like in his late teens or very early 20s. And so Louis Bonaparte comes on as Napoleon III. Is a little more distantly related, but wants to set up an empire in Mexico. Well, Britain had no intention of following along with this, so they pull out early. Well, here's sort of, to my mind, a realistic what if. I know we're setting all this up again, but with a little bit of a newer audience, though not many people here today. I know it's a different game. I know I've sort of talked about this before, if you watched the earlier episode once they're put out. What if some U.S. politicians, whether it be the president, Lincoln, or, whoever, was it Seward was the State Department? I don't know. Or some of just elected officials made statements that, because the Monroe Doctrine was already put out there. And for those of you who may not know, the Monroe Doctrine is America's statement under President Monroe is no additional European conquests in the Americas. Basically, Belize, Jamaica at the time, the Dutch and Curacao, the the French, where they did have some colonies. Yeah, if you got your colonies, fine, cool, keep them, no problem. But don't go picking on Latin American countries to think you can enhance your empires. That was sort of, stay out of the Americas. Well, what if they had said that some of them, hey, this isn't going to be allowed to stand. The U.S. will come in once it's done with the Civil War. Will come in and uh, kick the French out. And that's sort of the scenario that I consider this playing in that. Um, this is and the French going, oh shit, if we wait if we don't support the Confederacy now, and the Union wins, which is they're seeing is quite likely. Well, yeah, the Dutch also had Suriname as well at the time. You were correct there, Arno. Um, so if the French are or the Yankees are allowed to win in the North, we got to get a better way to besiege that. That's a good hit. Hopefully. That off. And so in this scenario, I'm looking at that as a realistic Napoleon III deciding that they're not going to wait to see what happens in the Civil War. They're getting into the Civil War right now. On them. All right. Well, there's secondary supply there, so they got. And so right now we are very much in the balance, I would say, as to who's going to win this thing. So there's Gettysburg, if you're somewhat familiar with some of the battles. There's Washington, D.C. We'd like to cut off Washington, D.C. I think we need to take Harper's Ferry, though. Though that is being rather expensive. Reconnaissance, you fall back to there. You scattered, very good. Let's remove the men. Okay, I'm trying to see. Well, we don't really have a rail connection up through here, so that is a serious limitation. I see that. Okay. We're spending all of our French MPP here. We're just reinforcing, just keeping the French from growing. The other ones just attacked. Well, we'll bring these guys up. The engineers, the mud is going to be a problem here. Now we got okay. I think I meant to bring some of those other horses. Oh no. Well, we got these here. Good. Okay. I know there's some heavy divisions. There are corps there. Out here in the west. Hello, Lieutenant Luigi 25. I played this scenario as the Union, the French landed in New Jersey for some reason. How interesting! This is the first time I've played through. I've been playing through this scenario for a long time now, but the first time I played it, New Jersey. Well, I don't know. That's an interesting thing to do. I've done more conventionally in trying to reinforce the Confederacy. And with a strategy of trying to get rid of some of the ports here that the Union are occupying to free up both troops and naval units and whatnot. Okay. We contacted just siege guns. Okay, well, good. I want to put pressure on them, and good. It didn't take out a whole lot of forces. I don't think we need to sit out here, so let's head towards Monroe there. And one thing I want to do here is I want to remember to do it is with some of these Indian forces where we can still buy, because Confederacy is doing very well because we have been able to get the ports back open, take away the Union blockade. See, but I wanted to get all those Indians out here that we could armed up. Another standard game today. How did you get so many MPP? Well, this is the I don't know if standard. This is the Wars in America, the French DLC. By opening up these ports, a lot of these ports here are now getting a lot of MPP coming in from Europe, including down here and here. So we are controlling things pretty well. That's how. And I haven't been spending a huge amount as a Confederacy. These guys cut off here, though they are in secondary supply. But we're a long way, at least I think a long way from winning. Okay, so these, I guess if we moved that way, we'd get rail up through there, but that'll be taking Washington, which is fine taking it, but don't know how easy that's going to be. And it's looking easy now. I'm sort of scared because when things look too easy, there's normally some sort of surprise to come out and bite you in the ass. Well, we'll do another Stewart. It's not Jeb Stewart, but that's getting all of the main line, at least for now. Better units that we can have. I think we will also do that. And look at our production schedule. So December, January. I don't think there's anything major I'm forgetting to do. Yeah, they got to pull back. They're way out of supply up there. Spanish, you see, running blockade at Wilmington, near Charleston. Union control still. We got to get that done. So I'm a very big believer. This is the one sort of port that they're still. Massive fire devastates Tredegar Ironworks in Richmond. Uh-oh, that was very damaging. It's going to kill us a lot of MPP. It's not doing us well with MPP either. Or the French in Mexico. We got level 1 skirmishers, which will help us. Okay, and so you can see here is we're getting... now, I quite honestly would rather have this, some of the money that going to the Confederacy, swap over right now, because we are doing so well there. Oh, Star Streak. Yeah, bit different than the normal. We got to get you better with the Hearts of Iron 4 so you could join in, because we were down a player and we need somebody to fill in. So this is why we're doing something a little different. Well, I'm doing something a little different. Oh, they're deciding to be stupid. A lot of Mexican army units there. Or, public and Mexican army units. And Union units down here, too. Ooh. Uh-oh. Yeah, they're losing from attrition. Good. We will take that down. Yes, we got to get that forward. Yeah, that's hurting us. Okay, the Second Schleswig War begins. Fighting breaks out between Prussia and Denmark. Cool image there. Okay, yep, they've got Huntsville. We're spotting units there. We're spotting units up there. East intelligences. Oh, way out there. I was expecting some. Okay, we are getting some Confederate corps and divisions here. Well, because the ironworks, we can't put it in there. Well, I very much want to get the Mississippi reopened, so we're going to drop one of the corps there. Now up here, well, we are starting to break out a bit. I'll put another corps here. Now the other sort of big front we're having is sort of Tennessee. Yeah, well, reinforce. And The General Bragg, river timber-clad on the Confederacy. Well, we could put him there. Does give us some deployment options. I think, though, here more in the middle Mississippi here. That's where it will be the most useful. Well, good, Starstreak. We'd love you to join those games as well as the War Thunder games. Okay, now see if we can just put an end to this. All the rest of Louisiana. So we'll move north in our hands. Looks like they just may go down. We're going to use you to open this back up. You to go that way. Back there. Hello, Turnlow. How you doing? Now, I am sick and tired of just bumping into these guys without spotting. That's why we moved some cavalry down here. Let's push. We didn't have a too bad a time. Okay, good. They can at least get to here and push. Even if it's costly, it's very costly. They're going to come and occupy. These guys are coming. Good to hear. Good to hear. Now there's another corps here, but they're now cut off, so we'll see what they do. These guys are cut off. They have a secondary source of supply, which is troubling. Oh, good. They got pushed out, so they get in there. We're going to move these guys. Hopefully there's... Uh-oh. Well, I mean, it was costly, and we hurt them too, but I should have moved the cavalry up like that. Okay, spend... Well, it's not a whole lot of supply here. But we can upgrade these guys that will. The skirmishers. Them down. I know they can come back here in Helena, but oh boy. Well, we should probably run back to port. Now, up here in the cold, these guys are going to fall back. These guys. I'm pretty sure there's someone there, so if I move up, we'll just bump into them. Now, how is our supply doing up here? That's okay. If we were to push to here, we're going to be next to the fortress. Washington's going to be a tough nut to crack. You can see that we'll go up considerably in our attack capabilities by upgrading. We're playing the South. It would have been different, that's for sure. Would have been different. I would say the world would have looked different. With a split South. Well, I want to press on towards Natchez here and whatnot. But I think I'm going to sort of fall back a bit. If we can get Port Hudson, we could get that secured. That will cut off all the supplies along here. So that would be good. Now in Tennessee, probably somebody up in Springfield. That's why we need we have cavalry around. But we've acquired Vicksburg. Johnson is occupying Vicksburg right now. Let's get you back to some level of strength. But so we have that. It's just need to get this Port Hudson to cut off all of the supplies. There's some other Union units in here. And we will be doing relatively well at that point. Oh, good. We got it. Getting Pensacola will help us. And it'll, if nothing else, I may keep one of these brigades here, but the other ones will be leaving. The division somewhere else. I think Biloxi, I don't know that it's actually occupied. I think it was occupied. We just haven't reoccupied it yet with actual forces. There is a garrison here that I would like to see go down. Let's move you just down to support the fort there. There are some ironclads, but they're getting weak. Okay, down here in Mexico. These guys have got to fall back. them. Union cavalry, that looks like just a regiment, but still, it's not fun to see down here. We're going to keep, I guess, occupying the town. No, that may mean this gets surrounded. I don't know. These guys sort of obviously been out picking up locations to hopefully get us more MVP here, or Mexico and whatnot. Wait, either the point to siege of Vicksburg is to allow free travel of goods up and down the Mississippi should be locked down already. Yeah, we did. Yeah, they're also giving Port Hudson, as it says when I hover over here, blockades Vicksburg. So we've got to take both. They're looking at it. The start of the scenario, the Confederates did have a garrison here, not very strong, that the Union quickly pushed out. So we're trying to get this retaken. This will just reinforce out here while we can. At least we got them out of Fort Smith. Oh, that's right. They moved. They moved into Huntsville, but then moved up other forces there. And I'm not wanting to just hit this and wound it and then have to rebuild my forces. I want to hit this and kill it. So I'm moving over some other forces. At least we got Pensacola cleared out. They still have Fort Pickens out there, and I don't have the ability to naval invade it. That obviously the Union can move ships out around here, but I'm sort of hoping this line of French ironclads will snare most of anything moving south, keeping some garrisons along there. See if they can keep supply here. We can let's click off here, remove here. We can see that this and this and this hex here are fortified. Not sure about the Washington hex. So pushing in this is going to be incredibly difficult. But they made the mistake of moving in a division. This is sort of move in here, we kill them. Hex. Sort of to keep them from doing that to us. we're not, or we're not moving into that hex either. So the only way I would consider it is if I'm like going to make a big assault on that hex and think I was going to occupy it, and then because that would only allow them to have one hex to attack here, and not two. I think you're doing okay where you are. Let's see, I'm purchasing. Nothing really going to be French purchasable much. Go with a Mexican regiment. Yeah, I think we will. We can look at their production. That's it here. Now, siege artillery is something that may very well help us get into Washington. The other thing that we should look at, because we do have a lot of extra MPP, we are doing some of these. Let's go with scouts. That would help us with keeping from bumping into enemy units. And we'll also do that. Telegraph. Leadership. And we'll do infantry tactics another level. Hey Eric, how you doing? Yes, tactics. Yes, we will do that to improve there. Okay. And yes, I am just playing this game sort of haphazardly. British ship successfully blockades. And we're getting our MPP from that happening. Yes, Confederate banditry is happening. The question is, should I remove those? Okay, over 100 Union POW escapes from the Libby prison in Richmond. Interesting. Or core organization level 4. Confederacy develops production level technology 3. Very good. Okay, so we are continuing building up. We ambushed them in essence, and they got chewed up pretty heavily. They're deciding to bombard our... Oh, that just disappeared. Did that mean that it died from lack of supplies? Is it just further around? Oh, major enemy contact. Oh, that hurt us considerably. That's going to be a big expense for the... Oh, for the French to rebuild. That really, because I rebuilt the French fleet a few times, it's really cost the French a lot of their reserve MPP. They're really pushing along this Decatur, Huntsville. And that's why we were moving them south. The Union is far from beat on this. So are the Mexicans, unfortunately. Oh, they're still just there. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, although, yes, we're continuing to stream from Slytherin. I'm not scheduled to play this for the next month, and I don't know if they'll ever pick this, pick up this game again for me. I don't know. They might not. I don't know. I was sort of we had because you're not available, Eric, and we had somebody drop out from our. You weren't available to fill in, and we had somebody drop out of the multiplayer game for the day. We had to. I had to figure something else out, and that's what I figured out in a very short time. Okay, well, you guys fall all the way back to here. Uh, you guys come back to here. You guys come over to here. Okay, we're gonna need to fall back. I'm looking for a good fallback position. I know that I just got moved up. If I move him here, he'll get surrounded, so he's going to march through the mountains. There we go, that's better. Well, I'm going to be playing Flashpoint Southern Command, I believe is what it's called. A game that I got to get practiced on a little bit um, very soon here. And I think it's Monday. I think it's Battle for Normandy combat mission. I think I'll have to look. I think it's combat mission Battle for Normandy Monday, and then a couple of days or a couple of weeks of Flashpoint, and then going into Order of Battle, and they want me to focus on um, mod, mods for the game. Okay, we're gonna. So there's a lot of that going on. Now here we're continuing to push down, and I know there's a Republican Mexican force there. Hopefully, with these two guys, we might be able to take it. I don't know. Now, the Union cavalry here, I think, was part of the force that took out the Indians out here that I was worried about popping out of here. But they still might. So we're keeping a few Confederate forces holding down that part of Texas. And they shattered. Very good. Very good. That will help us with supply immensely. Now our little timber iron or our timber clad is something okay. Oh, we want to come over here. Well, we got to fight these guys. We're going to take out the Hunley. First, really operational submarine. Let's take the strongest one of these up here to try to sink that with the least amount of damage. You come to Norfolk, major port in Norfolk for building. See if we can repair the French ironclad there. All right, well, that's who we knew was there, but we are always bumping into them, and we now see that there's nobody there, so we'll take that. These guys we will reinforce. We'll move you up like that. I guess we'll move you up along the river there. Okay, so we're securing the flank in Tennessee here. There's probably somebody over here in Crossville. We don't want to get those Rangers killed, preferably. Okay. That'll be the best first hit. Yes. Okay. How? We're gonna retreat back a bit. We're gonna get better supply. Should have retreated that brigade. And we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank Tim, Strongarm, Niagara, Timothy, Sertoyjet, Gary, Garrett, Marcus, and the Hoffmanator for support over on Patreon. But everybody else, I just ask that you like the video. So if you're watching live now, of course, on YouTube, if you can hit that like button. And post a comment. It really helps with the algorithm, and I like to see who's watching and things like that. So if you would, please post a comment. See you next time for more, yes, even more historical gaming.